hanging out here in our wooded area today, and it is July 4th, today, right now, July 4th. And me and Mom and Dad are not celebrating anything. We're not going to any picnics or parties or anything like that. We're not shooting off any fireworks. One, because we really aren't party people. That's really not our deal. And two, like, it just doesn't really feel like a time to celebrate. I don't know. I don't know if maybe you feel like we do. This country's a mess. And the little guy just feels like he's just being squashed down more and more and more, and things are getting harder and harder. And the people who are in charge and the people on the news and our celebrities are just telling us that everything's fine and not to worry. So I guess we shouldn't worry. But I came across a tweet today, or whatever they're called now, posts on X. And I thought I'd share it. It's by Dylan Allman, and it was about the Declaration of Independence. And I just thought I'd read it to you right now. It says, have you ever truly grappled the cost of signing the Declaration of Independence? 5 signers were seized by the British and died after a brutal torture. 12 had their homes plundered and incinerated. 2 lost their sons to the Revolutionary War, while another saw both his sons captured. 9 signers fought and succumbed to the hardships and wounds of the war. These men signed away their lives, their fortunes, their sacred honor, and their uncertain future for liberty. Who were these courageous individuals? They weren't radicals or rabble-rousers. 24 were lawyers and jurists. 11 were merchants. 9 were wealthy farmers and plantation owners. They were men of education and means, and they willingly risked everything. Carter Braxton of Virginia, a prosperous planter and trader, witnessed his fleet decimated by the British Navy. Left destitute, he sold his home and properties to cover his debts, and he died in poverty. Thomas McKean was relentlessly pursued by the British, forcing his family into a constant state of flight. He served in Congress without compensation, his belongings confiscated, and he was left in penury. Men like Ellery, Clymer, Hall, Walton, Gwinnett, Hayward, Rutledge, and Middleton all saw their properties ravaged. Thomas Nelson Jr., seeing a British General Cornwall using his home as a headquarters, urged George Washington to open fire on his own home, leading to the destruction of his estate and his eventual death and bankruptcy. Francis Lewis's estate was demolished. He was imprisoned, and he died within months. John Hart was driven from his dying wife's side, his 13 children with him in flight. His fields and mill destroyed. He hid in forests and caves for over a year, returning home to find his wife dead and his children vanished. He died shortly after from exhaustion and sorrow. Norris and Livingston faced similar tragedies. These men weren't seeking fame or fortune. They stood for a principle, believing liberty was worth more than their own security. They embodied resolve, pledging to one another for the support of this declaration. From firm resilience on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. This Independence Day, we remember that sacrifice, not as a historical distant fact, but as a vivid testament to this price of freedom. Again, that was Dylan Allman on Twitter, X. And it hit me kind of hard because, like, we see the sacrifice that these guys had to go through for liberty. And to see it kind of being stepped on by our politicians and our media people and our celebrities and our community leaders, it's really sad. And our forefathers, felt like because of a 3% tax on their goods, and because they didn't have representation, that was enough to declare independence. And we right now we're taxed, like 30% of our income? And taxation without representation. I mean, do you feel represented? Like, what do you have in common with the people that are supposed to represent you? Now, I know we're not like a political channel. I don't mean to rant, but you know, it's just hard sometimes to act like everything's okay when things are clearly not okay. But if you are celebrating the 4th today with friends and family, I hope you enjoy each other's company, and we'll see you next time.